Now, obviously, the parents of Little Will believe the basic premise of Died Suddenly, which is that if their child receives blood from people who may have been vaccinated, that this will somehow endanger their child. And I would imagine, I am imagining here, but I guess that's just called intuitive intelligence, that the premise of Died Suddenly, the Netflix movie, is something that the parents of Little Will would endorse, Sam and Cole. Now, as I said, I invited Liz Gunn onto the program this morning to discuss this particular issue, and she had initially agreed. She changed her mind and said that I had said dreadful things yesterday. Okay, whoop-de-doo, but there you go. And then she said this. One of your lines, she texted to Shane, my producer, sums up so much. In yesterday's show, you said, quote, the moment you give parents the right to choose, and the context of that was to choose what blood you're going to get for your kid, you end up with a mess of stupidity and scientific prejudices. That's what I said yesterday. That's pretty much what I said. That was my thoughts. Probably still are. And then she goes on to say, the stupidity in that sentence of yours is self-evident. How dare you talk down to parents in New Zealand with such arrogance? To come on your show to base your flagging ratings, we don't do ratings, darling, so they wouldn't be flagging or otherwise, is not something on which I want to waste a moment of my time. I'll be supporting this brave and wonderful family of baby Will, who should not be in court defending their faultless parenting. Get on the right side of history, whatever that means. So that's the answer. So yesterday she did agree. Now, as you know, I give anybody the opportunity to talk on my show. I give you the opportunity I believe in free speech. That's why I was asking Liz Gunn on to say, I don't agree with you. I mean, obviously I don't agree with you. But I'm sort of trying to work out where you're coming from and what your message is. Because I'm a great believer that in debate and discussion, and the sharing of ideas, and their combat sometimes and debate, you learn something. And certainly people who are listening to that discussion can be better informed as to what their particular view or opinion or stance might be. So I find it disappointing that Liz Gunn, who has been given this opportunity to come onto the show and say why you believe that giving this blood to this child will endanger them and what scientific and medical evidence there might be to support that contention, is now saying, I don't want to talk about it. Which goes back right to my central thesis here, that if it's been my life experience, that people who have faith in something that doesn't exist, and have no credible nor reasonable reason for that belief, can never truly be dissuaded from believing it, and will always believe that they and their particular experiences are the sole aspect of truth. And you can put as much evidence as you like in them. You can give them much authoritative background. You can provide them with as much factual context as you like. You will never convince those people. And I'm sorry, Liz Gunn, but you're one of those. And it's disappointing that you will not engage in freedom of speech and will not, in actual fact, have your ideas tested in a valid public forum. All right? So I'm just saying. Right. So now the issue is, now I also listened to the last, three-quarters hour of Sean's program this morning, in which a number of you rang up and expressed your views on one side or the other of this debate. Good. That's welcome. And you're most welcome on the show to express the same. 0800 33 22 83, 0800 debate, or text 5050. But I'd rather talk, because in talking and discussing, and I have, as you know, on this program, Liz Gunn, I have plenty of people that I disagree with. whether they are people who believe in that the Maori should in actual fact take back this country and have been badly looked after the last 170 years and need co-governance 50-50 of this country, through to folk that believe that there should be hate speech against folk who don't like homosexual or have just said the word gay. Equally, I have people on the other end of the political spectrum who I disagree with, who you might consider to be on the far right, if you like, but they are entitled to speak as well. So, again, I will say 0800 33 22 83. And if you are at the protest today, if you are going down to the court, love to hear from you. Or if you are there in heart and spirit, love to hear from you as well. So, what are the facts? Well, first of all, we know that these parents were interviewed at Starship by Liz Gunn. We know that Liz Gunn then put that on social media and on her Facebook and other websites for the purpose of highlighting the plight. We know that Liz Gunn and the parents obviously accept that they are now in the public forum because they are seeking public support for their stance. So at no stage is this a private matter. The private part of it in the documentary that Liz Gunn has done with the parents of young Will, that they say that they went to Starship and said, we want clean blood. Starship came back and said, sorry, we don't work like that. And why do you want so-called clean blood? And that is the first question that I would have asked Liz Gunn this morning. Why? That's the first question I would have asked the parents. Why? Why do you want to be able to dictate what blood goes in your son? Now, the parents say, oh, listen, we've arranged all our mates and friends to be able to, give their blood. To which the New Zealand Blood Service says, that's not the way it works. You know why it's not the way it works? Because we don't know what kind of blood they've got. We screen all of the blood that's donated, whether it comes from folk who have been vaccinated or not. And we then can assure the people who receive that blood that the blood's not going to be a problem, that it is, to all intents and purposes, clean. In addition to which, the New Zealand Blood Service said yesterday, we are also saying to you that any of the blood that comes from anybody in the community is likely to have COVID antibodies, either because you've been exposed to the vaccine or exposed to COVID yourself. And then Professor Nikki Turner of the Immunisation Advisory Centre, in actual fact somebody I've got a lot of time for, particularly in her campaign on obesity, has said, listen, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't. There's nothing in the blood that could possibly harm this child or anybody else who receives it. Please show us the scientific evidence of how that might work. And so, again, I go back to this question. It would have been a question I asked Liz Gunn, but you might have the answer to it. Why? Okay? Why? Why?